Guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on our YouTube, and this is part 2 of our faction tower. So it is Saturday, guys. On our reset, we do have the World Tree, we have the Forsaken Necropolis, and we have the Infernal Fortress up. Now, like we've seen in the last video, guys, we're going to be going through all 3 of the faction towers. I'm going to show you the heroes that are really the primary damage dealing heroes, which is interesting because they also run in hand, kind of with the meta heroes. Now, in both the World Tree and the Forsaken Necropolis, you start getting Stargazer cards at 125. You start getting Time Emblems at floor 300. So as you can see, guys, we're 786 and 808 in the Forsaken Necropolis, and the World Tree still making a lot of progression. I've already pushed, I think, around 12 floors in the World Tree tonight, which was awesome with the Awakened version of Solus. We've done incredibly well within here. So looking at our teams, guys, and again, just like we seen last time, I'm going to go through the couple different teams. So, of course, when it comes to the Wilders, number 1 primary, guys, is the Awakened version of Solus. If you want a hero that can provide all of the damage herself, can really carry the team, support, heal, the Awakened version of Solus will do incredibly well within that role. But I am taking the Awakened heroes aside because if you look at all of their faction-specific towers, short of the Awakened version of Aziz, guys, they just absolutely dominate the towers, guys. Every single faction tower, the Awakened hero, due to the build, due to the sheer power that they bring to AFK Arena, their damage is through the roof. Now, first priority when it comes to this, I would honestly probably put Raku in here. Raku, of course, is the primary damage dealer. He goes in meta formations. We see him within some Cursed Realm comps. We see him within the Twisted Realm. We see him in campaign stages. With the crowd control aspect, he does incredibly well, which again would be the first reason why I would build him. Now, he does have a couple other heroes such as Mishka, Gorvo, that can provide some crowd control, amplifying his damage. But overall, guys, if you do not have Raku built, you are not going to see the damage within these formations and not going to see the carry. Now, number 2 within the Wilder Tower, I would go with Iran. Big thing with Iran, guys, not only does he provide an incredible amount of damage, but he also does very strong crowd control, has an attack rating reduction. In addition, he is used in a lot of other formations. Utility is very high, is still used in the 5 pull within campaign stages, which makes him a pretty big priority to build. Even this day, guys, he does incredibly well. And then the final one that I would look at for damage would probably be Little Peanut. A star, again, if you're building a star, guys, has damage mitigation, but does a incredible amount of damage within formations. She is very viable with the healing. Again, she has the damage mitigation. She also does an incredible amount of damage. A lot of players do pair her with Mishka as well. Now, as much as I like Mishka, she is a crowd control, pretty strong in the crowd control aspect, but overall, when you get into the damage aspect, and that is what we're looking today, Raku, Iran, Astar are really the primary damage dealers. Even when we kind of run through a couple formations like Willow Lord, even in here, guys, again, Astar doing some pretty good damage. We have Mishka pretty close within there, but the healing, of course, very high as well. Then when you look at the Awakened version of Solus with Raku, and then you have Orin in there, but look at the damage that Iran does. You're going to have a lot of heroes within this faction, and this is actually one of the few factions that has a very strong synergy between the heroes, guys. We see a lot of kind of interaction with them, a lot of play between them. So overall, guys, those would be my 3 primary damage dealers. Again, Orin could kind of fit the bill. I don't have him built, and I know with burst teams he can, or when you start getting into high level efficiencies, he does die pretty early, which is the reason why a star, again, with the mitigation, I would go with. Now, looking at floor 808, guys, is where we are. So very interesting. Of course, the Awakened version of Baden is just going to be a monster, just like we see him within normal formations, guys. He is just a monster. Again, similar to the Awakened version of Solus, will crush stages himself, guys. Will be a solid carry. A lot of players that even use the trial version of him absolutely just crushed it. But again, short of that one, looking at the top heroes that we see within here, Isolde. Now, Isolde, of course, being utilized for the tower, he does an incredible amount of damage. Very hard to kill if you can get him to scale, and that is really the big thing, guys. He has to be given the time to scale. So whether you're having crowd control in here, whether you're having support heroes in here, if you can get Isolde to scale, he will finish stages. He will push an incredible amount of progression. Now, the second one I look at is Daemon. Daemon, of course, doing incredibly well. He scales with the enemy with the blood shielding ability. Overall, he is very high utility. Again, we still see him in the Cursed Realm. We still see him within campaign formations. There are still a lot of aspects of AFK Arena where we are still seeing Daemon. And again, he can carry a lot of stages by himself, similar to what we see early game in the campaign. This game mode, he is still being used. The final one I'm going to look at, guys, and it was really a strong, kind of a difficult toss-up. Now, Oden is probably the third, and I'm going to go over kind of the bonus one. So Oden, of course, has energy disintegration, has displacement, still does an incredible amount of damage, and does damage very, very fast within formations, which makes him viable. Still used in the Cursed Realm, still used in campaign formations, building him out. You cannot go wrong. And the other one, guys, is Kayleen. So Kayleen, unfortunately, we're not seeing her in very many formations, but when it comes to the tower itself, she does incredibly well. She can be in the tanking position. She can be backline because she provides a lot of crowd control. Not only does she do a considerable amount of damage within these formations, but she also does do a significant amount of crowd control. I'm going to look at Willow Lord's formation again. We see Isolde out here in the first formation. We have Daemon right there carrying the second stage. And then this one does have Grez in here, which Grez, of course, we're going to build. Looks like Treznar is built out as well, but Oden ultimately doing the most damage out of these formations, guys, which is the reason, again, the utility that we see with these heroes. I don't have Treznar built out, and it still works incredibly well, just running Oden within this formation. But the same with Grez is you do have to get Grez to scale for the viability and the utility to get him to actually work. Now, looking at our final tower for the Infernal Fortress, guys, now this really only has two, which is kind of crazy to see. So on one stage, you are going to run Lucretia. So Lucretia is going to be the carry through this entire tower. Even if you come down here, guys, and you put in a bunch of level 1 heroes, not going to make a difference, guys. Lucretia, of course, amplifies her damage through the enemies dying. So you will have one single team, and Lucretia, of course, being one of the biggest priority heroes when it comes to the Stargazer, you're going to build her out, and you're going to build her out very, very high, very fast, because she will carry you until you get to the second team. When you do get to the second team of this formation, there's really only one other team to make within here, which is the Mahira comp. So Mahira within this formation does incredibly well. It is the mesmerize effect that she possesses, guys. So even when you look at every single formation that I've seen in here, 1, you're running with Lucretia, 2, you're running with the Charmazard. Right here, you can see this crowd control aspect. Zorath in here is kind of the bonus because it does enhance or helps the Charmazard work, as well as having Khazard. So Khazard, of course, only has to be mythic. You can see both of them are mythic here, and it is still working at floor 808, guys. So we are very high into our stages, and it is still working incredibly well with the Mahira and the Charmazard. Now, the big thing with that as well is Charmazard is still used within a couple of the Cursed Realm comps. We also see it prevalent in the campaign all the time. So one team Lucretia, one team with the Charmazard is still going to work incredibly well. Like I was saying earlier, guys, within the World Tree, we have been pushing stages in there. You can see level 780 right there, floor 780 of the tree. Gave us a couple more cards. I have been pushing this as much as possible. Every single time, guys, we've been just moving up little by little by little. Every 10 stages that you can get Stargazer cards, every 20 stages that you can get some of your time emblems out here are going to help when it comes to the long-term game. All right, guys, so that'll do it for the second part of our faction towers. That covers all of them except the King's Tower, which we'll focus on in a little bit. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.